Hey there, today I'm going to carry on working on the new feature I started yesterday where I want to display a table here showing all of the game changes that we're tracking through this live counting app. Now, just before I started recording here, I have added a wee loop here that's going through this new array of all of the unique time events. So every time a new change is made, it's adding the timestamp there. And the timestamp is something that corresponds to so there's a player times variable and a player changes variable. So for player number 1, the third element for the player times variable will be a time, and then the player changes third element will be the change that was made on that player's counter at that corresponding time. Now each player has their own unique list of times and when changes were made, and what I'm doing is I'm merging all of the lists into one giant list with unique times, and then I'm converting that to a set and then back to a list and then sorting it, which will give me an ordered list of all of the unique time events that we have in the system. So then my plan is to have for each row one of the columns is going to be the change for that player in that column if there was a change at that timestamp in that order. So we'll scan through, find out which element in their own player times list matches if one does, and if one does, then we'll display the player change, and it should give us a good running total of changes on the players. So all of that might be easier said than done. The next component I'll be looking through here is actually creating a table. So it's going to be fun. So this here was an example code showing different ways we can loop through table cells and rows. So a table row, and a table row has children, and a table has children, and table cells are the columns in the table. Okay, I think we're starting to get ahead around this. So for a start, let's just make a new table. Table. Children. Then we're going to need a table row for each time. For time and times, table row, and that needs children. Now we're going to want a column for each table how many players do we have? So player count, we need to know a column for each player count number. My Dart syntax isn't too good, so Google will help me here. For I loop Dart. Okay. It's all quite messy. That's the logic we want. For int each player equals 1. Then that's the while clause. While each player equals or lesser to our we're in the right place. Our board state dot player. Each player plus plus. Table set child text. Getting there. Still unhappy. Where are we missing a table row? missing a closing square bracket? Nope. Unless we did that out of order. Okay, so where's the end of the table? It's the end of that one. It's fine. And for each player, we're going to return a table cell. Table cell has child text. Okay. Where did we make it unhappy? Oh, we got there. Not quite sure where my logic failed me, but there we go. We now have two table cells, and if we make it 3 players, we're getting 3 table rows or columns. Perfect. So I guess one of the first things we want to actually say is if each time equals 0, then each player.toString else, just put the time for now. There we go, player 1, player 2, player 3. Let's get rid of the loop before this. And let's start tidying this up. So now, can we do table? Can we do centering? Default vertical alignment, is that horizontal? Vertical. Text decoration, or is it just simpler to wrap the cell in a center? There we go. So these are all the timestamps we want to report on. Now we want to find if the dart list find index matching value. Okay, so index of should do that, and so now if board state dot player times dot each player, now it's 0 indexed, so it's going to be -1 dot index of the time we're displaying. If that is greater than -1, which is what we show if there is no match, then we want to show the corresponding index of the board state dot player changes. Put the index of in there. Else we display nothing. And we want to display that player changes as a two string. Okay, not quite there yet. I think we might have it. Let's reset the game. Go to 2 players, reset. So if we go +5 on this player, then -2 on this player, then -1 on this player, +5, -2, -1. We're starting to make some progress to display our game scores. So next I just need to obviously work on some cosmetic stuff on this and play with some table layout and the likes. Also running total here would be really smart. So we could keep a running total somehow there, calculated at the same time. Wonder if we can do a sum of all board states. So a sum of all player changes below that player change in the starting. How trivial is that? Sum of list up to index. This fold left concept here might do the trick. Yeah, I might have a look at that later. But in the meantime, we're dynamically displaying up to 6 players worth of life total changes chronologically, showing the changes. Now these zeros, they actually represent if we went plus and minus. So it's 0 change but did play with the life total. Oh, now that's an interesting one. How did that happen? I wonder if let's see if we can break that again. seems to be when we do a 0 change with the +5 -5. Yes. So somehow I'm creating more timestamps. Aha. So here we go. Earlier on I made it so I tidied up when 1 is added or subtracted, but if there's multiple changes when doing 5s, it's always adding a new timestamp. Where's our timestamp adding? There we go. So we don't always want to add a new timestamp. We only want to add a new timestamp if it's a unique time, otherwise last equals now. We update the last one if, so I have a check here. When an update is done to a life total, if it's within a difference between now and the time they were last updated of less than my input delay, which is set higher up here as 2.2 seconds, then we insert as a new one, or rather if it's been more than 2.2 seconds since the last update, we insert a brand new entry. But if otherwise, we update the last entry. But my initial code was actually always inserting a new timestamp rather than updating the last timestamp as well. So that should have resolved that bug. That's why we do testing. So if I go plus plus minus plus plus, there we go. +2, no change, +5. So yeah, a little bit of interesting testing there, and making some solid progress to a brand new tracking feature with dynamically generated tables in our little app that we're working on. So yeah, thanks for tagging along, and we'll work through some more next time. Have a great day.